Major rebellion in the Liberal Party. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Late yesterday, I became aware that there is a rebellion, an actual rebellion in the Liberal Party of Canada. Because Trudeau is out of the country in Laos. I believe he's in Laos or Cambodia or someplace in the Far East. Several MPs have decided to group together and try to get as much support as possible to force Trudeau into a Liberal leadership convention. The word is, and this is coming from CBC, so, is it a credible source or isn't it? Well, probably more credible than just YouTubers like me saying so on the internet. But apparently, there are Liberals who are asking other Liberal MPs to sign an obligation that they will support a leadership convention. So what does that exactly mean? Well, let's take a look at the CBC report that started all this.
Yeah, Ian, there have been some calls for change for a while now, and even some MPs who have publicly called for Trudeau to step down. But this is by far the most advanced effort that we have seen to this point. And it's really escalated throughout this week with Justin Trudeau overseas at this summit in Asia. What's been happening is MPs have been meeting in rooms all across Parliament Hill, and they're being asked to sign their names to what amounts to a pledge to stand together and calling for Trudeau to resign. Now, it's not a letter they're signing that will be circulated. Instead, it's a tightly controlled document. There are no copies. There are no photos. And sources I've spoken to describe it as a vehicle to secure a commitment from MPs to seek that leadership change and bind the MPs to that goal should the Prime Minister and his supporters push back. Look at it like an insurance policy of sorts, signed in ink in the MP's own hand that becomes impossible to disavow if the pressure gets too high. And Ian, what my sources are saying is that at least 20 MPs have so far signed this document, with others voicing their support for this cause. One MP who signed the document told me that the number of signatures spilled over to a second page. And my understanding is that it's from across the country. Backbenchers from the Atlantic, from Quebec, from Ontario, and from the West. No cabinet ministers that we know of that have signed it to this point, but we know that there are some cabinet ministers who are aware of these efforts.
And what sort of reaction are we expecting from the Prime Minister?
Well, he has been adamant to this point that he isn't going anywhere. I don't know if this changes anything. He is flying back from Laos, so we don't know if he plans to stick with his intentions to stay, because that risks a possible splinter in the caucus. We don't know if this changes his calculation and he decides to leave, or if these MPs could back down now that the word has gotten out and the Prime Minister's office is able to respond. Because people I've spoken with who are connected with this effort said their intention was to keep it secret for as long as possible till it built to critical mass, and the fear was that moving too fast could allow the Prime Minister's office a chance to respond and maybe splinter the resistance. So right now it is still very unclear how Justin Trudeau responds once he's back in Canada.
As you can see, there were at least 20, but there appears that it could be more because it spilled over to a second page. So the Liberals who are signing this obligation are going to be held to task. And let's think about this. It won't take very many Liberals who sign this who maybe will vote against the government in the next confidence vote. If the Bloc calls it, the Conservatives support it, and the NDP votes with the government. Well, if 20 or so Liberals vote against their party, the government falls. Will that happen? I don't know. But this leads me to believe that it is more and more likely that Parliament will be prorogued. As you recall, back when the WE scandal hit, Trudeau did prorogue Parliament, and he effectively stopped that investigation, at least for that time. I hope that it will be resurrected and investigated thoroughly, just like the SNC Lavalin and the Arrive scam and now the SDTC scandal. But we're just going to have to wait for that. But now that there is effectively a Liberal Party revolt against Trudeau, I would suspect that he is going to be pressured into proroguing Parliament. And during that prorogation, I would suspect there will be a leadership review, a leadership convention, as it were. And as specified in my last couple of videos, I think that Melanie Joly is setting herself up to be a candidate in any Liberal leadership convention. Parliament is effectively closed down until I believe it's the 21st because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Apparently, MPs get a week off. I haven't checked yet. There may be committee meetings, but the House is not sitting during the next week. Now, a lot of people have speculated that a non-confidence vote cannot be called because Parliament is effectively gridlocked with the Liberals refusing to give up the documents. But it's my understanding that it's only gridlocked for government bills or government proposals, which means that opposition parties can still bring forward motions on opposition days. Well, if the Bloc or the Conservatives smell blood in the water, they may bring forward a motion of non-confidence. If Trudeau's smart enough, and we all have our doubts about that, but he probably will prorogue Parliament to avoid that. And that being the case, we are likely to see a Liberal convention during the time of prorogation. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the end of Justin Trudeau. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream, where you can join in on the conversation. Also, I do have a link in the show notes of this video to all of my social media, including a link to my website, where you can sign up to take the Canadian Firearms Safety Course. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.